Hello people, this is Hexagonalspy, the Spy, and we're coming back to you live for the check-in of the Shining Blue Moon deck for the final time. Alright, here we go. Terraforming, this search for a field spell card from the deck to be added to the hand. Double Cyclone, target one spell or trap card that is face that I got, or you got, or the person got, and destroy them instantly. Quite a spell, by the way. Unexpected die. This, if you got no control, if you have no monsters that you control on your field, then you can special summon level 4 or lower monster that's in your deck and summon straight to the field. Drayden knows what it does. Dime Gazer Magician. Alright. So during the battle phase, in the pendulum scale, if your pendulum monster declares the attack, Time Gazer will make sure that your opponent doesn't activate trap cards during the battle phase in the pendulum scale. And you'll be sending this card in the pendulum scale if you got no monsters you control. Now, so let's get to the next one. Dragon Shrine, you should know what it does by now, so let's move on. Kimbo Dragon, once destroyed or gone to the graveyard, you can special summon a dragon type monster that's in your hand and summon straight to the field, but you cannot attack on the turn of the activation of Kimbo Dragon. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon knows what it does, so let's move on. Soul Absorption, a continuous spell card. Every time a card is banished, you gain 500 life points. Protective Reviser Blue, already shown that card since the part 1. The King of the Swamp, this card is treated as a fusion material for any fusion substitute monster. And while it's in your hand, you get discarded to the graveyard to add 1 polymerization from your deck, add straight to your hand. Dark World Dealings. Each player draws 1 card and then discards 1 card. Can be a handful card if you know how to use it. Deep Eyes. I'm going to explain to the best way I can. If the blue eyes monster face that you control is destroyed by battle or by an effect of a card, you can special summon it. And when this card is summoned this way, it inflicts damage to your opponent by 600 for each dragon type monster with different names that's in your graveyard. And then you can target one of the blue eyes monsters, and this card gains attack points. A handy effect monster, if I do say so myself. Alright, so shift. So when your opponent uses an effect of a card that targets one of your cards, you could change its target to the other cards, or when the opponent declares the attack on one of your monsters, you could shift their attacking target to your other monster. A handful of ability trap card. Time Gazer knows what it does. Zero Gravity, when activation changes all the battle position of both players' monsters. Potted Dichotomy, returning 3 types of different types of monsters that's in your graveyard, return them to the deck to draw 2 cards, I believe. Or 3. A turn to Blue Eyes White Dragon. By revealing 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand, you can special summon this card. It cannot be special summoned either way, and this card is treated as always a Blue Eyes White Dragon that's in the field or in the graveyard. So And once per turn, you can destroy an opponent's card on the field, and it cannot attack on the turn of its activation. Swords of Fanlight. When the activation of this card, you can stall for time for only 3 turns, and your opponent cannot attack until 3 turns are up. Photon Sanctuary. Special summon 2 photon tokens, and it cannot be used for synchro materials. And you contribute those 2 cards only for light monsters. Negate attack, counter trap card, blocks the attack of one of the opponent's tags and ends the battle phase. Kaiser Glider. No, this card cannot be destroyed in battle by a monster with the same attack points, and when this card is destroyed, it's sent to the graveyard. Target 1 monster to return the target to its original hands. Shrink, a coin play spell. Targets 1 monster in the field to lose half of its attack points to the end of the turn. Interdimensional Matter Transporter. Targets 1 face-up monster you got in your field and remove one from the play until the end phase of the turn. A handful trap card. Mirror Force. When an opponent declares the attack, you can activate this card to reflect the attack and destroy all the tap position monsters the opponent has. Ultimate trap card, a deadly one. Upstart Goblin. You can be able to draw a card, and your opponent gains 1,000 life points. White Elephant's Gift. Target 1 face-up non-effect monster you got control and send to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. Silent Doom. To revive 1 normal monster that's in your graveyard and place it in the face-down defense position, and it cannot change its spell position nor attacking. Chaos Mass Dragon. Claw of Hamos. Now, by fusing together, it can become an equipped monster that special summons a fusion monster. It can only activate a Claw of Hamos from only once. Dragon's Mirror. And this card is an Ultimate Fusion card. Using dragon materials that's in the field or in the graveyard, and remove from the game to fusion summon a dragon monster. Began White. Equip spell that by activating this card, if you have 3 or more blue-eyes monsters in the graveyard, target 1 of them to spell to summon. The effects are negated. To equip it, this card, and when this card leaves the field, banish the monster that's equipped to it. The other monsters you control cannot the attack. Also, if the monster can attack up to a number of times of any number of blue eyes monsters in your graveyards. A good equip spell. Majesty with Eyes of Blue. Equip spell. Equip play spell. Send 1 blue eyes monster that's from your hand or deck to the graveyard to target 1 face-up monster in the field, and it cannot attack while face-up on the field. Pretty good. We're almost through. Polymerization, fusion materials to fusion summon. Alright, a tuner monster, Rider of the Storm Winds. By targeting 1 dragon type Nora monster you control, equip with this card, and when this card that's equipped with this card attacks a defense position monster, inflicts damage or piercing damage to your opponent. If the monster equipped with this card will be destroyed, destroy this card instead. Alright, finally. And now we're moving on to the point of the extra deck. This is the extra deck, so let's move it onward. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, a synchro monster, 1 tuner, and 1 Blue Eyes monster. Neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. And once per turn during either player's turn, when an effective card activates in the graveyard, you can use this card to negate it and destroy it. And during either player's turn, you contribute this card to single summon any dragon type monsters in your extra deck and place it in defense mode. And at the end phase, summoned by Spirit Dragon will be destroyed at the end phase of the turn. Azure Silver Dragon. When this card is summoned to the field, Dragon type monsters that you currently control cannot be targeted or be destroyed by card effects until the end of the next turn. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target one normal monster in your graveyard and special summon that card. Alright. Bullet Spirit Dragon. That's what that does. Alright. Tyrant Burst Dragon. Now it has to work with Fang Critias, but I will be having that card in this deck soon enough. So it has to fusion with the Tyrant Wing card, and it can tag all monsters and opponent controls, and you can target one face-up monster, and it tags up a notch by 400 attack and defense points, and it can tag 3 times during each of the battle phase if this equips to one of your monsters. Now, Mirror Force Dragon, fusing together with the Fang of Critias and the Mirror Force card, and when a monster you control is targeted for an attack or by an opponent's card effect, except for the damage step, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Awesome card. Red Eyes Blood Dragon Sword, equipping it to a monster by fusing together with Claw of Hemos and one of the Dragon type monsters. And when it's special summon, target one face-up monster on the field, equipped with this card, and it gains 1,000 tap points plus an extra 500 attack and defense points for each dragon type monster that's in the field or in the graveyard, players' graveyards. Versus the dragons, it cannot be destroyed in battle if used together with 2 normal monsters. It has to be fusion summoned this way, so it cannot be destroyed by battle except with normal monsters. Oh, it is unaffected by other monster effects. Impressive effect. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, fused together with the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Another Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Alright, Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. When fusing together with 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons, it cannot be special summoned either ways, and it can be used to fusion summon with Contact Fusion besides using the Polymerization if you want to on the field. And it cannot be destroyed in battle, and any monsters that does battle with Twin Burst and survives it is banished after the damage step, and it can attack twice when the opponent has a monster on the field. Make up with 2 attacks if the opponent has a monster on the field. Another Tyrant Burst Dragon. Alright, the last card. Neo, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. The evolved version from the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Now, this card. Alright, so. At the end of the damage step, if this card is face up, you control that it's the only one on the field. You can send 1 Blue Eyes Fusion monster that's in your extra to the graveyard to gain another attack. You can only use this effect of this card twice per turn. So, during either player's turn, when a card or an effect targets a Blue Eyes monster you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard to indicate the activation and destroy that card. Alright, folks, that's pretty much about it. So, the Shining Blue Moon deck. So, yeah, this is what I can muster up so far, but sooner or later I'll be putting up some better cards for the Shining Blue Moon deck, so yeah. So anyway, hope you guys like these videos. So this has gone Spy, the Spy sign off, and wish me luck on the final exams after this weekend, and on Monday.